everybody, Darian here with DNC. Today we're talking about the number one way to grow your business today, and that's to systematize. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, we're talking about building systems today, and there are 3 systems you need in your business to help you grow and improve and run a sustainably successful business. So let's get right into it. Number 1, you need a system for hiring. Now, I'm very passionate about this. It is a controversial topic on how you spend your time and energy, but for me, if you're not putting the time into hiring the right people and taking your time hiring the right people, you are setting your business up for a failure, right? So the first thing you need to do when you are setting up a system for hiring is to hire slow and fire fast. Now, when you hire slow, what does that mean? That means you need to get to know that person that you're hiring. You need to make sure they are well qualified, look into references, do your due diligence, read their samples, all of those different things, whatever function they're providing for your business, for your company. But you also need to make sure that they are a good fit for your company. And that doesn't just mean, are they qualified? Do they have experience? But it also means, do they fit into the culture of what you're trying to grow in your business? Are they a hard worker? Are they a positive person? If not, they could contaminate this very happy place that you're creating for people to work in and bring everyone down, bring morale down, which is going to impact productivity. Now, the other side of that, fire fast. While still maintaining a positive atmosphere, you need to make it clear that you are the bottom line there. What you say is the end result. That doesn't mean you're not accepting feedback. That doesn't mean you're not going to answer questions. You're not going to work with people to develop ideas and things. But at the end of the day, the buck stops with you. And that means that if your people you're hiring are not meeting standards in the timeline that you have set, they're not producing quality work, they have a poor attitude that's affecting the entire work center, all those different things. If they can't be a positive, hard-working person that meets your quality standards, they're going to go. And you're not going to mince words about it. You're not going to give them 11, 12 different chances. If they're not going to meet standards and improve, they're gone. All right? So this is a hard one for a lot of people, especially people like me who do not like to have conflict and confrontation. But in order to run a successful business, you need to be the CEO. And the CEO makes hard decisions sometimes. And it's just like gardening, for example, right? To grow something big and beautiful, you got to prune some of the things that aren't serving the greater bush, tree, whatever it is. You got to make sure you're cultivating properly. All right, number 2, train your people and check in often. A lot of people make the mistake of hiring somebody based on their expertise and experience and then letting them loose. All right, then what happens? You are disappointed with the product that they produce. Even if you're spending top dollar on the best person to do this job that you have so many samples and oh my God, they've done such great work. How come they didn't produce for you? It's because you didn't train them properly. Even if they have the expertise and they have prior training and certifications and whatever, you still need to tell them about your brand and your message, the way you do business, the way you like to communicate. You need to set them up for success by showing them the way things work with your business. They're not going to intuitively, instinctively know exactly what you want. You have to show them. And then over time, as they work with you again and again, they're going to get a sense for that. They're going to remember. Now, checking in often is the second half of that. After you have trained them, you need to make sure you're checking in. Hey, do you have any questions? Have you run into any problems? You don't want them to be working on a project for a long time without any kind of feedback or check-in and then deliver something you're not happy with. One, you just spent all that money on that labor cost, on the time they spent into it. Then they wasted all that effort putting it in just for you to turn around and tell them, I want you to completely redo this. Here's all the feedback. When you could have incrementally been checking in, making sure they're on the right track. All right. And number 3, trust their skill set. Trust their skill set and don't micromanage. Right. This comes after the training. You want to make sure that you're setting them up for success, first of all, but then you want to take that step back as a CEO and trust them. Let them do that work, checking in. Let them put their effort into it, put their spin on it, their creative effort within reason, right? And then just let them do the job. Trust them. A lot of times when we go from being solopreneurs to slowly hiring contractors and building our team, what we want to do is have our hands in all the pots because we're used to doing that, right? We're used to wearing every single hat that we have to for our business. But there is a point when you realize as you grow that you are not the best person for the job. You hired somebody with an expertise, you put in the time to train them, you check in with them frequently, they are the best person for the job now. You have to do hands off and let them do the work, okay? It's a hard thing, but in order to grow, you have to be able to manage your time, energy, and the way you function differently. You have to become the CEO and not the in the weeds person. All right, so that is the first system you need to have in place, is a system for hiring. The second system you need to have in place is a system for selling. Now again, this has three parts that we're going to talk about today. And the first one is a system for a funnel, right? You need to create a funnel in your business. And that starts with, how are you acquiring customers first and foremost? How are you connecting with them, building that brand awareness? After that, how are you selling to them? An entirely different stage in that customer journey. You've acquired them, they found you on social media, they found a link to your email list, they signed up for this incentive, this freebie, this loss leader. Now you're selling to them. So you move from brand awareness to now they're ready to learn a little bit more about you and maybe get that first low-cost offer. Okay, great. What next? How can you elevate that journey for them and make more money, right? That low-cost offer now becomes a related higher cost offer, premium offer, subscription model, something else that relates to what you've already gotten them interested in, they've already bought from you, and you're elevating that ticket. All right, now more on that customer journey. How are you going to keep them? That subscription model. Content, they're in a different stage of awareness now, right? They went from not knowing anything about you to being warm enough to buy. Now they're hot because they've bought maybe multiple things from you. Every single stage of that funnel needs different kinds of content, right? From simple brand awareness quick all the way up to the very top. They know your brand, they love your brand, they're loyal to your brand. Now they have more advanced problems they need you to solve. And on and on and on, right? So creating that funnel and anticipating, analyzing all the gaps, all the potential areas where they might fall off or become disinterested, and having backup plans and reestablishment plans to get them back on track. All right, that's the first system you need for selling. Now the second one is a goal that you have in mind. So an end goal is what we're talking about here, and then working backwards. What is your end goal for your business? And I'm not just talking monetarily. We're going to talk systems for that later. But what does it look like for you when your business is perfect? When your business has the ideal form that you want? What do you picture in your mind? Is it a big team, a small team? Do you work remotely? Do you have like a place everybody comes to actually work, like traditionally? What does it look like for you? Are you working with clients in person? Are you working with them remotely? Do you have lots of different email systems? Do you have all of these promotions in place? Do you want to do a live seminar type of thing? What does it look like? Model it after somebody who you already know, who's already in that niche, doing the things you want to do. And once you have that vision in place, start working backwards. Start thinking about what you can put in place now and what needs to be put in place throughout the life of your business that can incrementally get you there. The third thing we want to talk about is figuring out your year's promotions, right? So this kind of falls in line with the other one, but it's more specific in planning. In a short-term plan, what do you need to have in place over the course of the year to make sure you're prepared for this year? A lot of times people will wait and start building promotions right before they're supposed to go out. And at that point, you might be too late because you haven't been putting any effort into brand awareness, let alone what you're going to tell people to get them to buy from you. You're now reaching out to cold audiences all the time because you waited to the last minute. So to avoid that, have a system in place, have a template schedule in place for the entire year of what kind of promotions you want to put out there, how long those promotions are going to be, the monetary goal for each of them, what needs to happen, landing pages, email sequences, live webinars, challenges, whatever it is, what are you going to do this year and what needs to happen? And look at the schedule for that to keep you on track. Plan ahead. All right, that's the third thing in the system for selling. Now, the third system we want to talk about for building a great business is a system for finances. This is not a sexy topic, but it is an incredibly important topic that people really just ignore. And I'll be honest, we struggle with this too, because again, it's not the most fun thing to work on. But if you want your business to be successful, if you want it to be sustainable, and you don't want things to come up and surprise you and really derail you from your goals, you need to be looking at this stuff. First thing is, how are you keeping track of your expenses? It seems like an obvious thing, and yet so many people just ignore it. Keep track, write it down, put it in an Excel document, and then look at it every single week. What money is going out and where is it going to? Are you making more money than you're spending, or are you spending more money than you're making? Keep track of those expenses. Make sure they make sense with your business if you're actually using them, subscriptions, memberships, whatever it might be, because if you're not using them, then you're wasting that money, right? Second thing is, how are you maintaining or increasing your profit margin? So now that you've kept track of those expenses, let's look at our profit margin and what we're making. For example, if you're putting out a discount, does it make sense to offer a discount on something that you're now no longer going to make money on because you did not properly calculate that profit margin? This stage is where you're going to do analysis, right? You're going to look at everything that you offer. You're going to look at the labor costs involved, the materials involved. If it's a service, do you contract it out? Look at everything that goes into this specific thing that a customer is going to want from you and what it's costing you at the end of the day to create, to deliver. And is that profit margin enough for you to not just sustain your business, but grow your business? A lot of times you're going to need to double, triple, quadruple the price of that in order to make that profit margin make sense. So do the analysis, make sure you're making the money that you need to in the business to make it sustainable. And more than that, trim the fat. If something is not making sense, if it's just not viable, if it's not serving your business, let it go. Cut the fat so you can put that money elsewhere. All right, the third thing in the system for finances is set your annual and quarterly goals and set details on how you're going to achieve those. So again, we're planning. A lot of this is going to relate to other things, but this one in particular, you need to be setting your monetary goals and you need to be putting in details in place to achieve them. So if you want to make $100,000 at the end of the year, for example, what do you need to make each quarter, each month, each week, and each day in order to meet that? Take your expenses into account, right? So if you have $30,000 worth of expenses every year and you want to make $100,000 in profit, guess what? You need to set that annual goal at $130,000, right? Makes sense. Now, here's something that you need to think about that most people don't even mention. If you have a service-based business or something that requires you to contract out, if you have a product-based business and you've got a lot of materials and sourcing and things involved, when you backtrack from that annual goal all the way to the daily goal, look at how many products or services, memberships, whatever it might be, you actually need to sell in a single day to make that annual goal. A service business, for example, may require your time. And if you are required to sell 24-hour-long services in a single day in order to make your annual goal, guess what? That is not feasible. That is not attainable. It doesn't make sense. So at that point, you need to make a decision. Do you need to increase the price of that so that you are required to put in less time every day? Or do you need to hire people to help you fulfill those 24 hour-long service options that day? Do you need help? Do you need to increase the price? Or do you need to cut it out entirely and rethink the strategy of your business? This is incredibly important because we have just done this exercise with a client. And after we broke it all the way down and factored in their expenses, their annual goals, the amount of time they have to devote, the feasibility of them hiring someone to help them in their business, and is that actually going to work because it's a coaching program, and are people going to hire them to be coached by someone other than them? Probably not, right? So in this case, what they were doing was not feasible. They had to increase the price, triple the amount for it to make even a little bit of sense. And even then, it was not going to be enough for them to sustainably keep that business model. They had to make some hard decisions and redo the strategy in their business. I tell you this because people will hear the words and not understand that you really, really do have to work backwards like this to make sure your goals make sense. All right, so those are the three things for a system of finances, right? For your finance system in your business to make sure you are growing your business sustainably, and you are creating something that's going to make sense for you. Because you don't just want to look at the money involved, right? You want to look at the time you're having to devote. Do you really want to work yourself into the ground to meet all these goals, to make these things work for you? Or do you want to build something that's going to help you live the life you want, right? Because again, we've said this in many videos, we created these businesses, we started our businesses because we were looking for something outside of a regular 9 to 5, right? If you want an easy work schedule, a 9 to 5, maybe not easy for everybody, but if you want a work schedule that's steady and static and not something you have to think about and you don't have to put thought into all of these different pieces, you just have to show up and clock in, go get a regular job, right? But we don't want that. That's not why we started our business. That's not why you started your business. You wanted the freedom, the extra income, the time with family, whatever it might be. So don't design a business that's going to take all of that away from you now. Think about what's going to work for you and how you can build that ideal business. Start at the end, work backwards, and let's plan our perfect lifestyle type business, right? So we can serve other people and serve ourselves. All right, so those are the top 3 systems that you need in your business to sustainably grow it and create something wonderful. And I want to hear if you have any other systems in place that help you grow, if you have any other pieces of systems like this that you use that really work for you. Let's help each other, let's support each other, let's create businesses that really make money and make us happy. Drop your comments, your tips, your tricks, your hacks below, and we'll see you in the next video. This is Darian signing off. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.